The future of the star quarterback is on the line, and the decisions made in the coming weeks could forever change the fate of this franchise. But that's not all. While the offense stumbles, a once promising second-round rookie is now completely off the team's radar, and nobody understands why. And if you thought we'd hit rock bottom, wait to hear what an NFL analyst just said about our quarterback that has set the entire city aflame. 3 explosive stories that are going to shake the foundations of Soldier Field and that every Bears fan needs to know right now. We're talking about information that could completely change the direction of this season and the future of our franchise. Stick around until the end, because what you're about to hear could define not just this season, but the coming years for our Chicago Bears. I can't believe what's happening in Chicago, and I'm going to tell you why this is more serious than you think. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN just dropped a nuclear bomb that has the entire organization shaking, from the executive offices to the last employee at Hollis Hall. Are they seriously considering benching Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent? I think this is total madness. But listen to me, because this story has layers much deeper than it seems. Fowler reports that during training camp, the offense looked more fluid with Bagent under center. Can you believe this? We're talking about the #1 pick from last draft, the future of our franchise, the quarterback we invested all our capital in, and they're already talking about benching him in his second season. I'll tell you this, if Ben Johnson is considering this move, something is very wrong in Lake Forest. The situation is infinitely more complex than it seems on the surface. Johnson wasn't the one who drafted Williams, so he doesn't have the emotional attachment Ryan Poles would have. This creates a dangerous dynamic where the general manager and head coach might not be on the same page about the quarterback's future, the most important in the franchise's recent history. Can you imagine the absolute chaos this would generate in the locker room? But let's go deeper into this story, because there are factors you need to understand. Fowler specifically mentions that Johnson didn't draft Williams. This is a key phrase. That means much more than it appears. In the NFL, when a new coach comes in and inherits a quarterback they didn't choose, patience is limited. Johnson has his own vision of how an offense should function, and if Williams doesn't adapt quickly, the coach will look for alternatives. The question Fowler poses is crucial. Is Johnson willing to be patient? And the honest answer is probably not as much as we would need. These coaches feel immense pressure to win. There are no more 3-year grace periods where you can slowly develop a quarterback. It's win now or lose the job, and that reality is affecting every decision made in Chicago. What worries me more is the dynamic between Poles and Johnson. Poles staked his entire career on Williams. If Johnson decides Bagent is the better option, we're seeing an internal conflict that could explode publicly. What happens if Poles insists Williams remain the starter, but Johnson wants to make the change? This tension could destroy the organizational chemistry we desperately need. And let's talk about Tyson Bagent for a moment. This kid comes from Shepherd University, a Division II school, and managed to impress enough last year to win some games when Williams was injured. But there's a massive difference between looking good in some games as a backup and being the starting quarterback of an NFL franchise. However, if the coaches really felt the offense was more fluid with him, that tells us something worrisome about where Williams is in his development. I believe benching Williams would be a catastrophic mistake that could sink his confidence forever. We're talking about a generational talent that needs time to develop in Johnson's complex system. But at the same time, I understand the pressure the coaching staff feels. The fans are frustrated, the national media is criticizing us, and every Sunday that we don't win, the questions become harder to answer. The reality is brutally stark. If Williams doesn't show massive and consistent improvement by week 10, his job as the starter could be in serious jeopardy. And that's something that as Bears fans, we can't allow to happen without a fight. We need to give him the time and support to flourish, but we also need to see tangible progress every Sunday. Now let's talk about something that has me completely frustrated and confused at the same time. Shamar Turner, our second-round pick, has been inactive in the first 2 games of the season. Really? Did we spend such a valuable pick, a pick we could have used to fill other critical needs, on a player who can't even dress on Sundays? Dennis Allen is selling us a story that frankly doesn't convince me at all. He says Turner missed a lot of time in training camp due to an ankle injury and needs to catch up with the defensive scheme. I ask you, how is it possible that after all this time, after weeks of practice, after all the development work, he's still not ready to at least contribute in specific situations? This is concerning on levels you can't imagine. Let's analyze this more deeply because there are several alarming layers to this situation. First, Turner was selected in the second round, meaning Ryan Poles saw him as an immediate talent that could contribute from year one. These aren't project picks. These are picks of players who should be impacting immediately on the roster. Depth on the defensive line is absolutely crucial in the modern NFL, especially with Grady Jarrett dealing with persistent knee problems. Turner should be contributing right now, rotating in passing situations, helping in run situations, not learning the scheme from the stands like he's a 7th-round rookie. What bothers me more is Allen's explanation. He says Turner is turning the corner and needs to seize the opportunity when it comes. But when is that opportunity going to come if they're not giving him chances to show what he can do? It's a vicious cycle that makes no sense. Ryan Poles made strong bets on these draft picks to build the roster through the draft instead of free agency. This was his central philosophy: develop young talent and build a strong foundation for the future. But if our early round rookies can't contribute when we need them, then that entire strategy falls apart completely. And let's talk about broader implications. Turner isn't the only rookie not contributing. Colston Loveland and Luther Burden III have also been irrelevant factors on offense. Ozzie Trapilo was also inactive in week 2. Do you see the pattern here? Our entire draft class is failing to contribute significantly. This leads me to wonder if we have a systemic problem in developing young players. Is it a scouting problem, a coaching and development problem, or did we just have a particularly weak draft class? Whatever the answer is, it's not good for the future of this franchise. The situation with Turner is especially frustrating because the defensive line is an area where we need immediate help. With the age of some of our veterans and the injuries they're racking up, we need these young players to step up. Allen mentions Turner might see more action against Dallas, but I need to see more than vague promises. The opportunity against the Cowboys could be absolutely crucial for Turner. Dallas just scored 40 points against the Giants, and their offensive line is playing at a high level. If Turner can't take advantage of the snaps he's given, if he can't show he belongs on the field in real game situations, then we might be looking at another second-round bust, and that would be devastating for the future of this franchise. And now comes the part that really has me fired up, and I think goes to the heart of all our offensive problems. Joel Klatt just made some comments about Caleb Williams that not only set the whole city ablaze, but have sparked national conversations about our quarterback's development. Klatt says, and I quote verbatim, "The problem with Caleb right now is that he struggles with Algebra 1, but wants to play calculus all the time." This is an absolutely devastating critique of our quarterback's development and mentality. And you need to understand why this analogy is so accurate and troubling. What Klatt is saying is that Williams isn't mastering the basic fundamentals of playing quarterback, the Algebra 1, but constantly tries to make spectacular and complex plays, the calculus. This goes to the heart of everything we've been seeing on the field. A talented quarterback who can't consistently execute the simple plays that keep drives alive. Klatt continues to explain that Williams doesn't take what's there immediately and constantly looks for plays that aren't there. This is exactly what we've been seeing Sunday after Sunday. Williams sees a 5-yard open route, but instead of taking that easy gain, he tries to extend the play to look for something bigger downfield. The critique goes much deeper than it seems on the surface. Klatt argues that Williams isn't doing the prerequisites, the floor of what he needs to do as a quarterback. This is a brutal but probably accurate observation. In Ben Johnson's system, which relies on timing and rhythm, the quarterback needs to make quick and precise decisions. There's no time for constant improvisation. But let's analyze why this is happening and what it means for the future. Williams comes from USC, where he had superior athletic talent to almost all his opponents. He could extend plays, make impossible throws, and win games with sheer physical skill. In the NFL, that approach doesn't work consistently. Because everyone is elite athletes, Ben Johnson designed a specific system of timing and rhythm that requires the quarterback to process information quickly and make the right decision within the play structure. It's a system that has worked incredibly well with quarterbacks like Jared Goff in Detroit. But it requires mental discipline and confidence in the system. What worries me more is that this critique comes from Joel Klatt, who is not known for making inflammatory comments without foundation. Klatt understands the game at a deep level, and if he's saying this publicly, imagine what's being said privately in coaching and executive circles around the league. The most concerning part of Klatt's critique is when he says, "You can't go out there to your maximum talent and impact the game." unless you've done these things first. This suggests that Williams is trying to skip fundamental steps in his development, and that never works long-term in the NFL. I believe this critique is valid, but I also understand that Williams is in a complex learning process. However, time is running out quickly. Fans are losing patience, the national media criticizes us every week, and the pressure is increasing exponentially every Sunday. What complicates the situation even more is that Williams doesn't have all the tools working properly around him. Tight ends like Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland aren't contributing significantly. The offensive line has had consistency problems. The running backs aren't creating the balance we need. It's a vicious circle where every component of the offense is struggling. But here's the hard reality: Williams is the quarterback, and successful quarterbacks in the NFL find ways to make things work, even when circumstances aren't perfect. Great quarterbacks elevate the game for everyone around them. They don't wait for everyone else to be perfect first. Klatt also mentions Williams focuses too much on personality instead of fundamentals. This is interesting because it suggests maybe Williams is more concerned with looking spectacular than being effective. In the NFL, effectiveness always wins over spectacularity. The critique about seeking plays that aren't there is particularly relevant, because we've seen this repeatedly. Williams tends to hold the ball too long, trying to create something magical when he should be taking what the defense is giving him. This mindset can work occasionally, but it's not sustainable as a primary strategy. These three stories aren't isolated events. They're all connected and paint a worrying but not necessarily hopeless picture of where our Chicago Bears are at this crucial season moment. The connection between the possible consideration of benching Williams and Klatt's critique is obvious. If Williams can't execute the basic fundamentals of Johnson's system, then it's understandable why the coaches are considering alternatives. Patience in the NFL is a luxury very few can afford. The situation with Turner and the other rookies reflects a broader problem of talent development that could be affecting the entire organization. If we can't effectively develop our draft picks, then our long-term building strategy is in serious trouble. What gives me some hope is that all these problems are technically solvable. Williams has the physical talent. He needs to develop mental discipline. Turner has the physical tools. He needs time and opportunities to apply what he's learned. The offense has the pieces. They need to function as a cohesive unit, but time is the critical factor here. In the modern NFL, you don't have years to develop players. You need immediate production, especially from early round picks. The pressure to win now is affecting every decision, and that pressure could lead to decisions that harm long-term development. These three stories paint a complex and worrying picture for our Bears, but I need to know what you think. Do you believe Williams deserves more time to develop in Johnson's system? Or are you ready to see what Bagent can do as the starter? What do you think about the lack of contribution from our rookies like Turner? And do you think it's a development problem or simply a talent issue? And do you agree with Klatt's brutally honest critiques about Williams' play style and mentality? The truth is, we're at an absolutely crucial moment in the season where every decision, every play, every snap can define not only the rest of this season, but the future of our franchise for the coming years. As a Bears community, we need to stick together and support our team during these difficult times. But we must also be brutally honest about what we're seeing on the field every Sunday. This is our family. This is our Bears community that bleeds navy blue and orange no matter the circumstances. If you want to keep receiving deep analysis, exclusive news, and the most honest and unfiltered perspective on our Chicago Bears, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. Like this video if this information was useful to you. Turn on notifications to not miss any important news. And share with all your Bears fan friends. Together we are stronger. Together we can endure these tough times. And together we will celebrate when our team returns to greatness. Bear down, Chicago Bears. And see you in the next video with more exclusive analysis and news from our franchise.